Topic of conversation today. The Orlando Magic are planning to retire Shaquille O'Neal's jersey, number 32. Remember, the Orlando Magic was a team that drafted Shaquille O'Neal. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he played like maybe about 4 seasons there. They're planning to retire his jersey. The only problem is that Dwight Howard, who was the center that dominated with the Orlando Magic after Shaquille O'Neal left, is a little bit upset about that. Now, my personal opinion, I do believe that Dwight Howard does have a reason to be upset. Reason being because I think he had a better career in Orlando. As a matter of fact, that was the best basketball that Dwight Howard played when he was part of the Orlando Magic. Shaquille O'Neal, although he was young and he was a very dominating force, if you look at his overall career in Orlando, it wasn't really that outstanding. Remember, yes, they did go to the finals one year. They played the Houston Rockets, where Shaquille O'Neal was annihilated by Hakeem Olajuwon. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research. Go check out the footage. They got swept 4 games straight. And the main reason why that stands out to me is because I remember when, if I'm not mistaken, Houston was up 3-0 in that series. Shaquille O'Neal was doing an interview, and he said, "Doesn't matter what happens, we're not getting swept. I don't care what anybody says, we're not getting swept." And then went out that same night and got swept. After he left Orlando, he went on to the Lakers, and we all know what happened with the career with him and Kobe. He won a couple of championships out there. Then he went to Miami and won one more with D. Wade. But while he was with the Orlando Magic, if you guys remember, Dwight Howard got drafted by the Orlando Magic. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he was even either MVP or Defensive Player of the Year a couple of times. He won the slam dunk contest. And he was Superman. That's where he got the name Superman. And forget about the rest of the basketball that Dwight Howard played in the league. The best basketball that he ever played was when he was part of the Orlando Magic. So I could understand why he'd be a little bit upset or a little bit taken back at the fact of the matter that they just disregarded everything that he did for that organization, and they give all the accolades to Shaquille O'Neal, who was only there for, I believe, like I said, 4 years maximum. I'm almost positive, because of the fact of the matter that Dwight Howard was there for much longer, if you compare the numbers when Shaquille O'Neal was there versus when Dwight Howard was there for the period of time, I'm sure Dwight Howard's numbers are much better. So yes, once again, I do believe he has an argument. He has a reason to be upset. I don't agree with Dwight Howard with a lot of things, but on this particular thing, I think he's absolutely correct. Maybe the Orlando Magic should rethink what they're doing. I mean, if you were going to tell me that the LA Lakers were going to retire Shaquille O'Neal's number, even though I think it's still a little bit ridiculous, I would be a little bit more acceptable of that. Because he had a much more dominating career when he was part of the Los Angeles Lakers. Even though the late, great Kobe Bryant might feel a little bit different about it, but for us, the viewers, that was part of the best Shaquille O'Neal that we saw. Okay, Kobe Bryant might have had personal problems with the way he showed up to training camp and stuff like that. He was out of shape, and he would, according to them, he would use the regular season to get into playing shape so he'd be ready to go for the playoffs, which most of the superstars will tell you that's not the right way to do it. you come to training camp in shape, you dominate for the entire season, and then you go and you win your chip. But you had a few players, like, for example, there's as far as I'm concerned, there's a player right now that people are considering to be the GOAT, that he does the exact same thing. He uses regular season to get into shape, thinking that, you know, of course, with the call of the whistles and all that kind of stuff, you're gonna get calls. The referee's gonna help you. You're gonna get to the playoffs, and by the time you get to the playoffs, you're in shape to try and do what you got to do. It backfires a lot of the time. That's all I'm gonna say. It backfires a lot of the time. I'm old school. I come from the school of Michael Jordan, where basketball, where you took the game serious from preseason right through regular season, and then you just dominated in the playoffs. That's what I grew up knowing. So it is a little bit more difficult for me now to be watching basketball and see the way these guys are really approaching the game. Because for old school people like myself, I kind of think they're disrespecting the game. That's my personal opinion. I know that the younger generation doesn't agree with that. I know the younger generation feels that LeBron James is the GOAT. My only argument with that whole thing is the younger generation should take a step back and really think about it, because people from my generation, we had the opportunity to grow up and see Michael Jordan. I was one of the individuals that had an opportunity to see Michael Jordan come into the league from college. Then slowly, little by little, take over the league. Dominate the league. I had that opportunity to see that process. But what you guys are missing is that we also had the opportunity to see LeBron James do the exact same process. So when we're telling you that we can't take anything away from LeBron James, he is a very good player, but there's no comparison when it comes to Michael Jordan. For the younger generation who didn't have an opportunity to see the building of Michael Jordan, how could you not take our perspective into consideration? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Because of the fact of the matter that, you know, obviously we do have a little knowledge of the game. Yes? So if we had an opportunity to see the process of both players, and we could look you directly in your face and tell you, as great as LeBron James is, he is nowhere in the category of a Michael Jordan or a Kobe Bryant. You guys should really take that into consideration. And I'm talking to my kids too, because I have this discussion with my sons on a regular basis, especially my youngest son, because he's part of that era where he only saw LeBron James. So yes, I could understand why you would think LeBron James is the greatest thing around. When I was growing up, I only heard about the Russells of the world. I only heard about the Wilt Chamberlains of the world. I only heard about Pistol Petes of the world. And you get to see a little bit of footage, but in my eyes, Michael Jordan was the greatest thing. In my eyes, Michael Jordan is a basketball god. A basketball god. Now, how he may be as an individual, as a regular person, that's way above my pay grade. I just appreciated the way he approached and attacked the game. I appreciate that particular type of passion. So that's how I think things get a little bit lost in the sauce. That's the reason why I think, you know, like honestly speaking, when I first heard that the Orlando Magic were planning to retire Shaquille O'Neal's number, it was like, okay. But then when I heard that Dwight Howard had a particular issue with it, and I actually sat back and thought about it, it's like, you know what? He has a very good argument. Because the first thing we think about when we hear about Shaquille O'Neal, we think about his overall career. So if you're thinking about his overall career, you'll think, yeah, that's right. Yeah, his number does deserve to be retired. No. His overall career was outstanding. His time in Orlando versus Dwight Howard's time in Orlando, to me, he'd be in second place. Don't be shy. If there's anybody out there actually watching this live, if you feel that I'm wrong, or you feel that Shaquille O'Neal's number should be retired, and if you feel Shaquille O'Neal was much more of a dominating player than Dwight Howard, please let me know. This is a platform open for that type of debate. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm a firm believer that people don't take the little things into consideration. I don't think people take the time to really actually do the research, because like I said, if you compare the numbers of Dwight Howard's time in Orlando versus Shaquille O'Neal's time in Orlando, I'm almost positive those numbers are going to benefit Dwight Howard. I'm almost positive it's going to look like Dwight Howard was a much more dominating player in Orlando. And that's only because of the fact of the matter that Dwight Howard was in Orlando for a longer period of time. If both of them were in Orlando for the same amount of time, then yes, Shaquille O'Neal's numbers would be better. So, do you think that maybe that's that they based their decision on that, thinking that the fact of the matter, if they did spend the same amount of time in Orlando, Shaquille O'Neal numbers would have been that much better, and that's the reason why they feel the need to be retiring his number? If that is a reason, do you think that reason is good enough? Because that's a prediction versus what actually happened. Let me know in the comment section if you guys really think that Dwight Howard has a reason to be upset. That being said, Double the Innocence with your boy E-Dub is out. Dropping gems and taking absolutely zero prisoners. I want you guys to have yourself a wonderful Tuesday. Try not to work too hard. Try not to stress out. Take everything in stride. Have yourself a blessed day, peep.